feel like Kobe in the fourth quarter.
This is the Dane Moore NBA podcast. We are brought to you by Prize Picks, coming at you Sunday evening. It's October 26th after the Wolves win in their home opener against the Indiana Pacers, a game they had to win without Anthony Edwards, who left 3 minutes into the game after experiencing some right hamstring tightness. I'm going to be joined by Jace Frederick here in a moment, and that's what we're going to kind of focus on for this episode, how they had to play to win in Ant's absence, because obviously that was relevant to the game tonight. But if Ant is going to miss some time, they are going to need to find a no Ant identity, which they obviously don't have a lot of experience with, because Ant, normally plays. And when he plays the majority of the minutes. So we're going to start there. And then I have a handful of other topics from the Pacers game to get to. This is another immediate reaction pod. Jason and I came right to the studio after the game, to get into this. But I do want to say, before we get started and going here, that this is not going to be something we do every game. It's not going to be immediate reaction pods after each game throughout the entire season. I know we've done it for all three of the first three games thus far this year, but it's just a little bit easier sometimes to take the night and wake back up the next morning and do a pod afterwards. So we do plan on mixing in more immediate reaction pods, but it's not going to be an every game thing. Like tomorrow, Kyle and I are going to record a pod on Tuesday morning after the Wolves play the Nuggets on Monday night. But for tonight, immediate reactions from the Wolves home opener with Jace Frederick coming up next. Let's go. All right, we've got Jace Frederick here in the studio for a pod. I was thinking it's probably been like years since we've done a podcast in person. We always do it online. I remember like the Denver one after they got knocked out of the playoffs. Me, you, and Chris did it. It was so doom and gloom. That might have been the last time we did a podcast.
I think that is because we've done some in the past, like before you even had YouTube, where it'd be like, I've got my mics, let's just sit out and do it in the lobby or whatever. But yeah, I think that's the last in-person one we ever did. Yeah, ever since you started doing YouTube, I don't think we have.
So it's like 3 years.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. I like the 50 miles between us. I think it.
Yeah, it feeds some fighting.
Yeah.
We're gonna just do an immediate sort of reaction podcast to the home opener from tonight. I think the main story in that game, and the main reason they won that game, is Julius played really well in Ant's absence. And obviously that's important specific to this game. But if Ant does need to miss some time, I was thinking about it, it's like this team doesn't really, and how would they? They don't really know how to play without Ant. Ant plays
all the time. He's played 72 plus games every year of his NBA career
and plays 36, 37 minutes a night, So it's going to be critical. Finch had no update on what Ant's injury was or is going to be or anything like that. But I do think whenever Ant misses games this season, it is going to need to look like tonight. I think they could sharpen some things and get better, but it's a lot of Julius, and effectively playing through Julius seems to be their answer there as a scorer or a playmaker if he generates double teams. How did you see them play through Randle in this game?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those games, and I think the good thing for Minnesota is the list of these teams is pretty long, but one of those where you look at the opponent and go, they don't really have a matchup for Julius. Like Pascal Siakam was long enough, I guess, so that they put him on him, but that's just the kind of body that Julius can move so easily and get exactly where he wants to get to. And when he gets to his spots, he's really good, really efficient. So it was just something, it was like a button you keep pressing again and again and again. And I think that would have been true if Ant was out there or not. But there's a lot of teams that he can kind of do that too, because like, A, you need a rim protector so that if he does muscle somebody else down there slowly, at least like there's another deterrent. But B, like, it is also nice to have somebody who can like not be moved by him. But he moves a lot of people, and he's really good at kind of knowing the 2 or 3 different ways he has to get to a spot. And he's gotten better and better, I think, at, okay, I scored 3 straight buckets. Okay, they just shifted the defense, knowing where he's going to go with it. Teammates knowing where they should move to make themselves most available. Like, there's just a lot more cohesion with like the Julius-based offense, and I think comfort for him and for everybody else. Not everybody else was comfortable playing alongside him at the beginning of last year either. Where it just feels like, okay, that's pretty repeatable. There will be some games where it's like tough Julius matchup. I don't know if this will work, but in general, hey, you can keep going to it, and do option A, B, or C off of it. So it is still like diverse. It's still other people are getting the ball, but you're going to something that's pretty effective and efficient.
When we were talking to him in the locker room afterwards, he kind of talked about it at like a quarterback going through his progressions, but it being pretty simple for him. And I know it's not this simple, but it's kind of like if they're guarding you with one and they're not bringing help, go score.
Yep.
Until they bring help. But if they got that gap help, like draw in that help, play make to it. And then obviously if they double, find skip passes and kick out of it. That offense, making Julius Randle the quarterback, relies on the premise that the guy that is guarding him when it's a one-on-one situation, that he can cook him, which he could with Siakam. He could in the first round of the playoffs last year against the Lakers. He could do that against the Warriors. And then you got to the Thunder, and he could not, take Jalen Williams, directly in a one-on-one situation and score at an efficient clip, or Caruso or Dort or the guys that they put on him. That's when it goes to you were just saying that, but that's when it goes awry, is when they lose that initial advantage of him being able to one-on-one score on his guy. If that's not there, it's going to be a bad Julius Randle game, even if Anthony Edwards is out there, because if they can guard him with one, he can't play make. And that it has become as important to the Julius Randle offense as the scoring piece. I would argue maybe even more important, that he can draw two defenders and kick in those spots.
Yeah, and I would say that's where I think the good thing for Minnesota is that the list is pretty small of teams that he can't do that to. Because you mentioned the Warriors, like that was Draymond Green, but Golden State doesn't have like a backline rim protector either. So it's just like it is really a true one-on-one. And if you beat your guy, you're probably going to score. Right. And he can do that to a lot of guys. Like he really made Draymond look bad after that series. Draymond was like, that's a championship level number 2 right there. I think and it's just like the Thunder, where it's like, hey, okay, we can put even somebody who's smaller, but know that we have somebody behind us to where like we'll make it hard for him off the bounce, to where he's not just comfortably getting to where he wants to go, like kind of harass him, knowing that if he does get by us, we have somebody else like who can deter the shot there. And frankly, like that's also an Ant thing too. The mid-range will help him with that. I think it did in the Portland game, but that's just great defenses. And yeah, maybe they're not built to like beat great defenses, but Julius has shown that he is a really good option against, I don't know, 70, 80% of the league, maybe even higher.
Let's make a list over the course of the season, or as we start watching. If they're, of course, in advance of the Thunder game, well, I'll talk about that. I'm like, okay, let's see what this looks like. He's probably not going to be able to, do that against this team. But you're right; it's a small list of teams who can give him problems there. Then if they can't, it's just kind of good offense. I was honestly surprised they didn't go to him more.
Yeah,
in this game,
because it was never a bad choice. And like when it really got bad, like I think there's like a minute or two stretch in the middle of the fourth quarter where he was out, and it was like you could tell he was out because they didn't really know where they were going. There was no clear, like I think Dante maybe like pushed one up, like, and it was like somebody just shoot it because I think because when you have such a focal point, such a center, in which everybody's comfortable playing around, when it's not out there, it's like, oh, now what? Right. Like what's our go-to? What are we even planning on doing here? And so I don't know, for them, they're like, oh, I guess Mike Rudy pick and roll. I don't know.
They're going to need to find, again, if we anticipate Ant missing a little bit of time, they are going to need to find what do we do when this isn't a Julius possession, or Julius is going to not play for 12, 15 minutes of the game. What do they do in that time? I don't think they have a lot of great options for that. Tonight it was kind of, they did a little bit of like, Rudy and pick and roll. It was kind of with whoever the ball handler was, but they don't have another go get it on your own type of guy if Ant is out and Julius is on the bench. So that'll be interesting to see, tomorrow or going forward, who they even or what they lean into there, because they'll at least be able to plan for that. Right. Tonight they could not plan for what it was, and it didn't look like they really had a plan in those spots.
It is just like, so many of the pieces that they have are good offensive players, but they're really kind of players meant to feed off of the main point. Like Naz hit that big 3 in the fourth, and it was like a great game for Naz, and that shot was really big, but that was the most wide open catch and shoot because two went on to Julius, and Julius made the quick, easy play, and it was top of the arc, like, hey, make this open shot, like, and it's Naz is a great finisher of plays, and Dante, even like catch and shoot finisher of plays, can do a little bit more than that. But a lot of times when they try to take on too much guys like that, they get themselves into trouble. So yeah, it's like, okay, you can feed off of Julius, but who is creating the advantages for us in the other possessions that break down a defense that create opportunities for other people to finish.
Yeah, that's the operative word, right? Advantages. And that's what we're talking about with Julius. Is Julius creates advantages when a guy can't guard him one-on-one. Ant has a bunch of ways he can create advantages. I do think they'll probably have to spread it out a little bit and run spread pick and roll with like Rudy, which they don't often like to get into, but that'll be I don't know. They're going to have to find more offensive levers,
especially because it's Ant oftentimes when they are doing the pick and roll.
Yeah, right.
Like that's
true.
That creates those step in threes. But yeah, we haven't seen a whole lot. Like Mike does it a little bit, but guess what? Mike's playing and maybe Mike's minutes will tick up. They certainly did tonight with Ant out, but Mike's been playing 16 to 20 minutes a game. Is it are we going to see? I think Bones had a nice read to Rudy tonight on a play in the second half, and maybe we see a little bit more Bones Rudy pick and roll. I don't know, but
it seems like Bones is going to be. He was the guy that they brought in for Ant because not because he's the first guy off the bench, but was kind of to like replace the Ant minutes without messing up the rest of the rotation. He's largely been really good. I thought exceeded expectations in that time. So I think he will be part of that. He probably is a guy who can create you some advantages in isolation, and maybe Rob too. We don't know what's going on exactly with his nose and how long that's going to, keep him out, but they are going to need to create additional advantages outside of Julius. I think the good news is Julius is really creating advantages right now.
Right.
And we knew he had this in his skill set. I just think he's going faster. He looks fast going from 14 feet to the rim. Whereas I think when it gets bad, Julius, it's a little bit of a slog. You get it's
too deliberate.
Yeah, and it just gets slowed down. And then that second defender can kind of cheat in without it really being an advantage there. He's not thinking, he's going faster. And I think his teammates get how this works now. They were ready. They could see, okay, the second guy is coming over, and you would kind of see Dante reposition or Naz repositioned one time there. And I think last year was only Dante who would do that stuff, which made some sense. He'd played with them before, but this Wolves team had never played with anybody like Julius before Julius got here a season ago. I think Ant back, Ant out, whatever. I think this team is just a lot more comfortable playing Julius Randle ball, which is this is one way they play, but it can't just be all Julius because half of it is playmaking. So you need to position yourself, Rudy, Naz, Dante, Mike, whoever down the line. And I think they're better at that. I think they'll have a better offensive rating with Julius Randle on the floor this season than they did a year ago, because he looks good and they look good around him.
Yeah, he talked about decisiveness, how that was the one thing he realized when he was out last year of I need to be decisive. I need to go right away and attack, and then, look to play make off of that. And it is he gets the ball, and it really does look and he even said it exactly what you said. If there's one here, I score. If not, I trust my teammates. And it literally looks like that. He gets the ball, he looks, and right away he's going, where's the help defenders? Gaps? No gaps. I'm going. Otherwise, I'm maybe taking one hard dribble and I know where my pass is. And you said guys are better relocating, which you should always kind of look to relocate. But when you have somebody kind of owning the middle of the floor, I think it becomes more and more important to make sure that you are actually generating that passing lane there. And because last year it would be guys weren't relocating. So the pass was very difficult because it was I'm having to pass through this arm to get to you.
So hard.
You haven't moved. You're open, but there is someone in between us, that kind of stuff. They've all made the game simpler. Julius at the first and foremost because of how he's going quicker. Everybody else because they're reading it off of it. So yeah, it is. It's just better offense now. It's easier offense now. It doesn't look like it's pulling teeth. Like you said, even when Julius would bully ball his way in, when every single dribble was like the pushing in, it was so slow, and like it eats up clock. So like if the first pass is actually then just leading to a chain reaction and you're swinging around from that, you don't have as much time to do it. Like, yeah, it all looked like tonight was really fluid through him. And it was like, yep, you could do this every time down.
Today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks, and because the Wolves are playing a back-to-back, we do already have the picks up for Wolves Nuggets on Monday night. So I took a peek, and the two picks that stood out to me were one, Nikola Jokic having more than 25.5 points in tomorrow night's game against the Wolves. He obviously had that 60-point game against the Wolves last season, but the real reason I'm confident in that one is that the Wolves always play Jokic to take away the passing, and they live with the scoring he can generate on his own. So I guess you could take the less than on the 8.5 assists they have there, but I like the more than 25.5 points for him most. And then the other one that stood out to me was Mike Conley being at 7.5 points. I don't know, it just kind of feels a little high. Bones Highland was also at more or less than 7.5 points as well. I guess they're assuming no Ant, and that means Conley and Bones will need to be scorers more than usual, but Conley has 9 points on the whole season. So I'm saying more than Jokic, 25.5 points, and Conley less than 7.5 points. There's always something going on over at Prize Picks. As a reminder, to put together a lineup at Prize Picks, all you need to do is put 2 or more picks in your lineup to win. If you don't yet have a Prize Picks account, all you have to do is put in the promo code DANE when you sign up, and you will receive $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. That's prizepicks.com or the Prize Picks app using promo code DANE when you create your account. This wasn't the first clutch game that they played this season. They played in Portland and were effective in the clutch there, and got to that clean mid-range shot, and they were good down the stretch of that Portland game. And tonight was a full 5 minutes of clutch time. I think they were up by 6 with 5:08 when they up 101-95 with 5:08 to go. It was your classic clutch time game within 5 points under 5 minutes. And I was curious to see what that looked like without Ant. Obviously they got the win and were effective there. This is just an important thing for the Wolves, given how bad they were in clutch time last season. Do you feel like they have more answers in that time? Are you believing it's better? I'm not sure. I think like everything is fixed after these two games, but it is a good sign that they got to effective offense somewhat in both of these close games that they played.
Yeah. It still looks really clunky even when it works, I guess. Because if you just think about it, like they were struggling, and then they got, with 3 seconds left on the shot clock, they got a defensive 3 seconds call. That was all within clutch time. So you got a tech free throw. And then under 5 seconds left on the shot clock, Dante gets fouled on a 3-point attempt. Okay, so there's like 3 points there. Jaden's bucket, was off of a play where Julius like tried to get the ball out to him, and it was like in chaos and traffic, and the ball basically got tipped, and Jaden had to go grab it and then finish right there. So it's like guys are making plays and they're finding a way. But as far as like, oh yeah, look at this, like it's like best player, repeatable offense. Like, what are you gonna do to stop it? Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, 2-man game. Like, wow, they're not there yet. And it's, I don't know if they ever will. But it, to me, a little bit outside of Ant getting to his spots and scoring, it's felt a little bit more like smoke and mirrors through these two games. Like it's worked, and they've also gotten enough stops on the other end to pull them out. But yeah, like as far as, have they like solved the equation? I think maybe Ant will just be better in that this year and find ways to get to his own spots in these isolation situations with like a spread floor to where it's really hard to double him, or it has to be a very intentional double that he's pretty good at reading out of. That could be their main solution. But like otherwise, there have just been a lot of plays where it's like that guy fell down, so then there's a 4-on-3, and then like the ball got tipped, but then it landed in this guy's hands, and then he scored, and we did it.
That
like
Jaden play.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's just, it's like, guess we got there. Not sure how, but we reached the final destination.
They did the first two possessions of clutch time were turnovers. Bones had a turnover, and then Dante had a turnover, but then like kind of grabbed it and became the jump ball.
Yeah,
and then
I think Shepard had it, and then they won the jump ball. That was a huge turn, because then that's when they got the 4 points after that.
Yes. So it wasn't. This was. I don't know.
Had a turnover in clutch time where he tried to throw back to Naz and it got like picked off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they turned it over some. I don't think they played through Julius enough. It actually was like the least they played through Julius the whole game was in clutch time. There was a Gobert pick and roll with DiVincenzo that worked. There was a Gobert pick and roll with Conley that worked in that time. So that's in this game what they leaned on there. They also went offense defense a lot with Mike Conley and Jalen Clark. So I think there's more to the like bag of clutch time that they have maybe. Because I mean last year it was just isolation. It was just there was no creativity to it, and it was really
isolation. And it was like, I don't know if I have anything. Why don't you try?
Yeah, grenade.
Grenade. Size it up till we get down to 10. I don't like it.
Do you remember what the clutch record? What was it? 24 and 27 or something like that?
I think it might have even been worse than that. Now, like I always say, I don't love record. I really don't. As far as clutch, I really much prefer net rating in it because clutch record, like, they won this clutch game. It's like, I mean, they started with a 4-point advantage.
Yeah, you're right.
It's far different than,
but I think they were like 25th in clutch time point net rating.
I think you're probably right.
Ago.
One sec,
which would suggest that they would not have won both of these games like a year ago. They've been better in it, which I don't know. I think that's pretty much all we can ask right now is that it's an improved version of them at this time.
So 20 and 26 in the clutch record last year, played 46, which was the most in the NBA. Net rating was minus 8.4 points per 100 possessions, and that was 24th in the NBA. And it's a lot of really bad teams below you. Like it's literally here's the teams below them last year. Like it is a good indicator of if you're good at basketball or not. Let's just go. Yeah, wow. Go from teams 18 through 30 in clutch net rating. There were only those might be two playoff teams in that group, Minnesota and Detroit. Like the worst clutch time net ratings teams were Utah, Toronto, Miami, Philly, Brooklyn, Washington. Like usually bad teams play badly down the stretch. And so it's like a testament, I guess, to them in Detroit that they still won so many games while playing so poorly in crunch time.
And even going to like average, I guess of last season, those numbers you just said, if they were average, they had a neutral net rating. And I mean, that last year, that's probably 5 more wins. You know? So this is a low-hanging fruit, I think, for them. And it feels like they're going to need some low-hanging fruits because the defense doesn't seem like it was a season ago, or certainly not 2 seasons ago. Like this team needs to take advantage of continuity, and like this is a way to do it and iron out your like flaws that you had a season ago, because you've been given a couple more flaws now with some roster change and things that, no Nikhil in the mix and Mike a year older, Rudy a year older. Like they need this. They need to be okay in clutch time to be a 50-win team. I mean, it'd be to those numbers. It's very unlikely if they're even close to that bad that they're going to be a playoff team. That just isn't. Playoff teams are normally not that bad in the clutch. They were the 6th seed last year and made it work, but it's kind of a non-negotiable to, you said, of being a good basketball team, and they are a good basketball team. This is like that was the number one thing they did last year that you're like, this is not playoff level basketball, and it was really good in Portland. I'm like thinking back. I mean, at least the end of that game was really good with Ant, and I think he's probably a big part of the answer. But I think they have a couple more, like I said, a couple more things in their bag there.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, and when they talk about, Finch just talked about, maybe we mix in some more Mike and Rudy pick and roll or whatever, and like have a variety. I agree with that up until like the 2-minute mark, and then like minutes 5 to 2, you don't even need to really treat it like clutch time offense. I don't really
play.
Yeah, just play the game, let things unfold as they do. The last 2 minutes, we just see it like league wide. It's the best players. It just is. Like it's the best players doing what they are most comfortable doing and saying, try to stop this, even though you know what's coming. We know what's coming, and we're just going to try to be better at it than you. And that's where I think Ant kind of does have to be the solution. Frankly, it's him being like, okay, what are you taking away? Like, are you taking away the 3? I got to go inside the paint. Is there somebody at the rim who I can take on? I should do that. If maybe I'm not as I don't love like the stack look I'm seeing here, then maybe I do find a way to get to where I most like this 20-footer and hit that, or make a pass off of it if the defense is overcommitted and somebody's
create
open.
advantages.
Yeah,
Same
exactly.
thing.
You know, it's create advantages, make the right decision. Julius did it all night tonight. Ant did a really great job against Portland. Can he do that again and again and again? You know, like the actual best clutch time players last year were like, it was Halliburton, but then it was Jokic and Brunson, you know, like they do the same things over and over and over again. They're just so good at it that you don't even know how to stop it. And that's where I think Ant is trying to get to.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you get there by consistently creating an advantage. And that's what we're talking about kind of when we talk about spots or we talk about what Ant is doing. It's not just going and taking a shot in these times. It's going and taking a shot or seeking a shot that is going to be a good shot, because then the defense is going to probably try to take that away from you. And then now your teammate's open. Or if they can't get there in time, then take the shot. You know, that's what the mid-range shot he hit at the end there was. But they do, to be a significantly better clutch team, they need to figure out how to consistently create offensive advantages. And between Ant, Julius, and some sort of Gobert, I don't know if it always needs to be Mike and Rudy pick and roll.
Agreed.
Probably, who knows?
Might not be on the court. Yeah.
We'll see there.
I just think when you know what you're doing, when you know what you want to get to, like, and when it's like our plan is this, like last 2 minutes of the game, Ant's doing this, and then he can read A, B, or C. That takes away all confusion and hesitancy.
Right.
And so often in the past, we've seen them where it's like they look like they aren't sure what they're doing. You know, and there might be a play call called or whatever, but they're like, I kind of want to do this, or I don't think that's going to be there. You know, it's too hesitant and it's a step slow. And when defenses are really locked in, like, you can't be slow. You've got to go right away. You've got to be super aggressive. You've got to put them on their heels and play from there. And I just think the more they know, like, we're going to Ant's doing this, that's what we're doing. You try to stop it. Ant has full confidence of, I know exactly how to do this, what I want to get to. I'll adjust if they take it away. And then everybody just, I think, is more effective.
Yeah, fall in line there. Then it's the quarterback reads thing. It's like, if not this, then that. If not that, then the next thing, you know. And if they can be quicker with it, I think they have enough. I think they have enough to be an average clutch team, right. And that would make a big difference from a season ago. Let's talk about Rudy and Naz a little bit. I thought this was the first game they looked like themselves, you know, or the versions of themselves from last season. Rudy was very sparsely involved in the Lakers game, foul trouble in the Portland game. Just did not feel like the Rudy Gobert that has kind of been a defining piece of this team for the past couple seasons. And Naz has too. I mean, going back to the 6 man of the year thing, like he was a huge part of it. I mean, he's a more volatile player. But the first 2 games, he looked a far cry away from that. And I don't think Naz was great in this game, but Rudy finishes with 14 points and 19 rebounds, and Naz finishes with 16 and 10 in 23 minutes. And hopefully for Naz, this is like setting a standard, a pattern. I think he kind of had to break himself out of the funk he was in at the beginning, and Finch, the players, talked about it too. He did that, but with just like some effort early. He still he didn't look like he was in rhythm when he was playing, but remember, he broke up an alley-oop. He had a nice offensive rebound, got out in transition, just kind of some of the will stuff. I felt like that got him going a little bit, but there's still more levels to Naz, but they need at least this. And especially with Ant out, they need both of them. They need the defense from Rudy, and they need more firepower offensively. Those 2 guys are going to be critical.
Yeah. For Rudy, I look at these games and think, this is what he's always done. And he's done it. Certainly he can do it against good teams too. Like, we've seen him be a big reason why they beat good teams, but these lower level teams, and Indiana as currently constructed with their health situation, is definitely a lower level team. Like, they just got smoked in Memphis the other night. It's not a good team right now. They can't be. And undersized, not good centers. And that's what we saw the whole like final quarter of the season.
Yeah.
Like Rudy just dominant. The matchup he's so physically dominant in the matchup that he can't help but be this kind of productive, you know. And
19 rebounds.
And it's the floor raising thing. It's like we almost lost tonight, but we didn't because we have Rudy Gobert. You know, like he just makes it where you have such an advantage to work from, because these guys just can't they can't box him out. Like that's
Right,
just kind of, and then they certainly aren't those skilled bigs who can score around him, like, so that's where his impact feels like it's most felt. And now I think the biggest thing is like, okay, how do you keep impacting the game when the front court is more formidable? Like against Jokic or whatever, just even Ayton, like how do you impact those types of players and still kind of really control the game on the interior, because they definitely need that. Naz was like, I think it's key for a couple reasons. I do always feel like Naz just presses a little bit at the start of the season because he's like, I have these expectations for myself this year.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't come right away, you press a little bit. But I think the solution tonight was great. Okay, I'm still like not looking as smooth with my finishing, hitting as many shots. I'm just gonna do something.
Yeah.
And this team needs more guys who are just like, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna go grab an offensive rebound. I'm going to sprint back and break up a transition dunk. Like all of these things to like kind of set the tone of like, we're going to outwork the other team, right? Because that's what you have to do. And so often it looks like they kind of forget, oh yeah, we're supposed to outwork them. Jalen Clark does it. Naz can also do it, like that's great. And it does, like when you do make those little effort plays, I think you just get so entrenched in the game that the rest of yourself flows more naturally. And all of a sudden the shot feels good and stuff because you're not thinking about it as much because you're just going. I think that's if he can consistently do that, it's really great for Minnesota, like establishing being the hardworking team they need to be. And then it just will, I think, also have more of those like, oh, wow, Naz is 4 for 6 from deep, those kind of things.
I want to see Rudy be able to be at a higher level than he was at the Lakers game, or those games when they're not paying attention to the Lakers. And it was the same thing in the playoffs. Like Rudy had no impact on that Lakers series really until the 5th game when they totally left him. Like just wide open.
Yep.
They were just
we
obsessed
cannot
with
guard
Ant and Julius.
So
And in that game he had 27 and 24 or whatever it was.
And I think from the Lakers' perspective, they'd be like, but your team only scored like 99 points.
Yeah, right.
So maybe that was still the best solution for us,
I don't get the 4 rebound games from Rudy. Like I don't understand what's happening. Because that's just got to be a baseline from him, and
you are going to rebound the ball at least 8 times.
This team needs rebounding too. Julius has not been a good rebounder since he's been here. Naz gets bumped, the guards don't. Mike Conley comes in for getting rebounds as a guard. Nikhil did that. I don't think you're going to get a ton of defensive rebounding help from Jade McDaniels out at the point of attack or Ant filtering back in and putting a body on somebody. I don't see that. Like, I think it's really important that Rudy, I don't need to be 19 rebounds, but cleans the glass. Like,
especially if you're going to talk about transition, like guys are going to be thinking about that more if they want to do it more. They did it a little bit in the first half, I thought.
Yeah, it's good.
But it's just probably teams are going to like, we're going to go out more. And that means like, Rudy, you be the vacuum cleaner, suck it up, and then let's get going.
But they need to trust him to get that to kind of start leaking out, for that hit ahead pass. But yeah, I guess it's also still, I like that you brought up the last 20 games when this was like Rudy's line.
Yes.
Was like 15 and 15 the last 20 games of the season once he came back from injury. It's encouraging that he did it again. And it was against, Jay Huff and Isaiah Jackson and guys like that. He has to do it against those people. And then against the other teams, or if he's getting ignored, he can't take himself out of it. Like I think this is his new version of himself. Like, you're not the heavy pick and roll guy anymore. That's not how this team plays. Obviously the number one thing with him always is rim protection, but the other number one thing should be offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds. And I really think, like, that doesn't sound sexy, but that would help this team if Rudy had his best rebounding season of his career. I think he has that like in him, and at least tonight hinted at that. But yeah, we'll see if it's consistent.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like when he knows he's open rolling or whatever and not getting the ball, if it kind of just disengages him.
It has to. But it's got to be some of that.
Right. Because when you're also getting left alone should be when they are doing the worst job getting a body on you on the glass. And that's what happened in that game 5. You have to be intentional about it. You've got to be just as aggressive. There can't be any sulking or anything like that.
Yeah, man.
If you have those games, like leads to offensive rebounds, leads to easy putbacks or whatever, like you will get a lot of shine from that. Your team will win. You will be looked at as a big deal of it. Like And you will have more of these like random 2020s, you know, where that includes 10-second chance points or whatever.
Sure.
Like, yeah, he talks about consistency all the time, and I do think he kind of has to live up to that himself, to some degree, because it is like some nights where it's like, was Rudy out there? And I don't care if you're not getting the ball. Like, you know, people always say, go grab it off the rim or whatever. Like, go grab it off the rim. I don't like. I mean, because some things aren't going to change, but and we've seen like you can dominate games in other ways. And you can't ask other people to do that, not do it yourself always, you know, because it has been like going into the playoffs. Part of the reason why he's not always playing as much is because his impact is not being felt, you know? And so like make your impact felt. You still view yourself as the type of player who can do that every night. So find a way to do it.
Well, control what you can control.
Right.
Like he can't control that they don't run a ton of pick and roll. Like that's just what it is. Be good set good screens when you do. But his way to help on offense, like these guys still clearly aren't feeding them on the interior. They are not. They're not wanting to do that. So if you want to get paid, it's on the offensive glass. It just is. Be a beast there. Steven Adams. He's in his Steven Adams era. Like that's who he is now. He's not the Rudy, like the Rudy Gobert, you know, or the vertical threat that it was before, because probably he doesn't have that same juice that he did in Utah. But he also, more importantly, doesn't have teammates who are really good at finding him in that way. And Finch doesn't want to play that way.
Right.
So this is the path forward for Rudy. I think it was encouraging that we saw it from him.
What do you think about, because I think TJ did it the other night, maybe against the Lakers, or maybe it's game one, whatever. And Bones did it tonight. Those like from the perimeter, like beyond the 3-point line, like yes, Rudy's there, but just throwing these bullets, like that just feels like a low success rate. But it's kind of like, I see why you did that. It's not like it was a bad idea, but they are more often going to lead to turnovers, and I think it just builds a little bit more distrust. And it's like, I think if you just eliminated those, like being more of like, it has to really be a lob, you know, for this to have its best success. It could be able to put up there somewhat softly versus some of these where it's like, it's just kind of probably too hard of a play, you know. And I think it's just negative results that then go in everyone's mind of like, Bones probably threw that tonight, ran back, was like, I'm not doing that again. It's like, don't do that one, but you can find other ones, you know.
Yeah, you're right. It is like the positive affirmation of the passer.
Yeah,
too, not just Rudy like getting his own positive affirmation for it working. Of like, I think it's really important as a Rudy Gobert teammate to fully understand Rudy Gobert.
Right.
And the flaws included. But you can't be like the people online that just understand that. And then it's like, oh, he sucks. Like, I'm sure that there's definitely been teammates on here that's gone through their mind. But you know what's going to happen? Rudy Gobert is going to start the next game. He's going to play 35 minutes in that game. So it is incumbent upon his teammates to use him in the best ways possible, because he's gonna be out there playing, you know. And yeah, it sucks he doesn't have good hands, but he's still gonna play, you know. So how do you figure out how to pass to him, or don't let a fumbly play like wreck you mentally? You know, I think it's on him, and sure, it'd be better if he could catch and stuff like that, but he's just not going to. Like, this is what he is from a hands standpoint. Again, especially with Ant out, like he does become a pretty important piece of this team, you know, and even on the offensive side of the ball, he's going to need to get some touches, or you get DHOs or whatever. There just needs to be more people like Kyle Anderson who seem to spend real time figuring it out.
Kyle was talking about he had to go deeper into the play than he was used to on lobs, and like he'd almost get to like the baseline to really commit that help defender, and then he was close enough to where he could throw like a really soft high lob that was easy for Rudy to catch, almost like a shot trajectory, you know. And
he passed to Rudy differently, than he passed to other players.
Right.
I don't think other guys
touch
do
and
that.
feel thing. Not everybody has that touch and feel, you know. Like, I mean, we see that in, can you shoot from 8 feet? You know, like those types of things. Like, how do you just understand, like, how things, like how the ball is going to bounce off the rim, all these things, you know, that just, I think almost comes naturally for some guys and maybe not so much for others. And so that's kind of a tough bind. Because I don't fault Bones for being like, our 7-foot big man is right there by the rim. I can get this pass there. Putting zip on it that is required for that specific pass, you know, and but it's hard then to be like, yeah, maybe you don't make that one, but then also just don't delete getting Rudy the ball as and because I think Bones, I think maybe had another nice play to Rudy. Like I think he's actually looking for him, and it's just like he's there and stuff. It's just those are the ones where you really do have to, I don't know, just like funnel like what are good Rudy plays. We have to use them, but okay, we're gonna cut out these 5 and I can still do these 4 and I'm confident he can handle those.
That's what I'm saying. Just be intentional about it. Like think about it, you know, and don't get wrecked about it mentally when it doesn't work, because when it works at a really high clip. Rudy shoots like 70%.
Yeah.
So when he catches it by the basket, 70% of the time he puts it into the hoop. You know, that's not what the other guys are shooting from the field. You know, they're better shooters and stuff like that. But when he gets the ball, I don't know. There was a little bit of it tonight. So we'll see that. We'll track that going forward. Today's show is brought to you by Skims. You know about Skims. They have an expansive lineup in women's clothing, but they really have expanded their product to the men's side of things, specifically men's underwear. And I've said this before, but my favorite thing about Skims is that it's a type of boxer brief that both works for going to the gym and just everyday life. I have the stretch 5-inch boxer briefs, and they work functionally just like compression shorts I would wear back in the day playing basketball or for running, but they are significantly more comfortable. I would never have worn compression shorts just around the house at home. And that is what's unique about these Skims ones. You can wear one pair to the gym and another pair afterwards at home because they are built for both. Like I said, I have the stretch 5-inch boxer briefs, and those are my personal favorite, but they also have cotton briefs amongst other styles. And I think you should try and find a pair that works for you. Be more comfortable. Shop Skims Men's at skims.com and Skims stores and let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. Today's show is brought to you by Factor. And when fall comes around in our household, we start doing Factor, because with a busier routine in the fall and going to games a lot of nights, finding time to cook can be tough. And that's why I love Factor. Their chef-prepped, dietitian-approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious no matter how hectic the season gets. Factor has more variety and more meals than they ever have before. You can choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. From more choices to better nutrition, that's why 97% of customers say that Factor helped them live a healthier life. And you can feel the difference no matter your routine. I really do use this myself, and I think you should too. Eat smart at factormeals.com/DaneMoore50 off and use code DaneMoore50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code DaneMoore50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. You can find that URL and code in the show notes. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. I did just want to, like, kind of in general talk about the defense with you. I think that's been a development of, like, we don't know what this team exactly is defensively. And also about Jaden a little bit. Obviously, he always ties into the defense. This was Jaden's first not good game of the season. I thought he was really good the first 2 games, just seeing more from him in transition and offensively. I know Luka got him pretty good, but I wouldn't say Jaden played poorly in that game. I like when those random possessions when Jaden's the rim protector. Like, I've seen a lot of stuff I like from Jaden. There has been a lot of foul trouble. I think there's been foul trouble in all 3 games.
Yes,
for Jaden, and that's a big part of his own rhythm. I think it derails his rhythm when he gets in foul trouble a bit, and then it derails the defense some overall. So yeah, I don't know, Jaden and or the defense largely. How have you seen that?
Yeah, just the defense at large. I'm almost wondering if this is kind of what it's going to be. Well, first off, you just look at like individual defensive ratings, and the Lakers game can skew it certainly, but the only ones that are like, okay, that's decent.
Rudy's
a 110.
Mm-hmm.
Bones is actually 104, which is great. And then Jalen's a 113. And otherwise you get pretty bad after that. So that's,
what do you like? I don't know what they're ranked right now, and that wouldn't be a good thing to look up at, to be like, this is how good they are defensively. But what ranking defense do they feel like to you?
12.
Yeah.
I just feel like they're not
I think
like
it's out of the top 10.
yeah,
That's what it feels like.
yeah. And I kind of thought that this year, like it would slip a little
You
bit.
said
more.
it,
Yeah, maybe to like 8 to 10, somewhere in there. But right now it feels more like 12 in that you're not like out of position giving up layups, but you're not impacting the other team. Like they're still largely getting to where they want to get to. And you're not, there's no like outside of Jalen, there's no like, oh my God, they can't go anywhere with the ball right now. Remember, like, 2 years ago, if you just can actually remember it, it was like whoever had the ball probably hated basketball. Because it was like, stop. It would be like the kid in like middle school practice. You'd be like, stop trying so hard in this drill. I just want to dribble and go cross over and go to the next cone and cross over. But this kid's not letting you get anywhere. That was like the Wolves. And now it's just like, get to where you want to go. We are going to contest you when you get there, but it's your spot and you have a decent chance you'll make it. The Portland game was like, the rim's right there.
Go ahead.
Don't let me stop you. The other games have just been like, yeah, you're there, but they got to where they wanted, and they're good NBA players, and so they're probably going to score. Like Siakam largely got to where he wanted to go, except when Jalen was covering him. Because Jalen actually pushes back. It's like you're not getting. This is a one-on-one battle in space here, like kind of like a little bit of like that hit first. Finch talked about it. I should look it up, but it's actually impacting the offense, not being like, okay,
resistance. At the point of attack.
Yeah, like make it hard. And right now it's like you're there, you're in position, but you're not making it hard. You're basically like a practice dummy. Like I'm here, I'm gonna put my arm up.
I think a good example of this is like when a team is just trying to run a high pick and roll. Like the Wolves let them get into it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yep. There isn't, and that there would be times when the number one defense team like 2 years ago would be like, all right, whoever's trying to set the screen on the left side, like they wouldn't let them even get to the screener sometimes, or it'd be hard, or they'd say attached after it. Now it's like, that was the whole Lakers game. It was just like, okay, someone set a screen for Luka. There's space now between whoever's guarding Luka and Luka, and now you've lost all resistance. The resistance is exclusively Rudy at that point. And that's good. Rudy's great in the drop, but there's so many players who can go at Rudy in that way, or just take advantage of it, turn it into an advantage situation for them. So whenever we ask Finch about the defense and what needs to, it is universally resistance, or it's ball containment is what he always says. And
it's not just keeping it in front of you though. Like it's not letting them continuing to eat up the ground.
Not letting them go where they want.
Yeah, it's not like, well, I didn't let him get to I stayed between him and the rim at all times. It's like, yeah, but he just got to 4 feet. Like, yeah, you're still there. I see that. So here's what he said. Talked about Jalen setting the tone on defense, and then what's the key to getting a better start before he enters? And Finch said, I think we got to get back to playing with some level of physicality on the ball, winning the first dribble. You hear me talk about it all the time. So many teams now, if you give them a runway and they get their head down and their shoulder into you, it's really hard to stop them the further they get down the floor. If we don't win right at the point of attack, I think we're trying to play all of our defense too deep in the paint. We've got to do a better job playing it up the floor. Yeah. And those are the teams where it's like you're making it hard to dribble. You're making it hard for them to get into their actions. That's what the best defenses do.
Thunder. We can all picture that.
The Thunder and the Timberwolves 2 years ago. It was really hard to even start an action. Like all the shots were like, even the teams where it was like an open shot, it was like they had to pass the ball 10 times and constantly go against like a scrambling defense, and it was still getting contested, and it all felt hectic. Right now, it feels very comfortable.
So let's say they get back to more of that.
Yeah.
Still, they're still not the number one defense. And I'm still not even sure they're the 6th. Like maybe they can get back to that.
I think if you get back to it, you can get towards 6th.
Yeah. It's just, and this is important for this team because they want to be a top 10 on both sides of the ball team, and there's going to be their own adventures that they're going to need to figure out to get there offensively over the course of the season. Maybe Ant has just become the level where he's a walking top 10 offense, but for this team and this identity and this roster construction, given all the stuff we were just talking about with Rudy, being a good defensive team is kind of a non-start. I mean, you have to be a good defensive team. And I don't know. I have a lot of images from the from the first two games, less so tonight. I mean, Indiana's not very good. Or it just didn't look like they were that level of team, especially with Rudy off the floor. Like I've talked about it every pod, so don't need to totally belabor when Naz and Randle are out there. It's, and they're the two bigs. It's problematic. And I don't even think putting Jaden and Jalen out there even solves all those problems either, because part of it is having rim protection too. And Naz and Julius just are not, I don't think that's just going to magically show up. I think this is going to be a team that struggles with Rudy off the floor defensively, which is all the more reason to, when Rudy's on there and you're playing your base defense, to be good. Like, at least bring it at the perimeter in those minutes or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. So you just kind of strangle them for the 8 minutes that Rudy's
can't
out
get
there.
it down there,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing for me tonight was I actually didn't mind like the RJ Dennis minutes, but when they had Ben Shepherd out there starting the game, bringing the ball up the court, like he is a 2-guard traditionally who doesn't handle the ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably even worse than having Dante do it. And you see a Dante under like pressure full court defense.
Yep.
And the fact that Minnesota didn't pick up Indiana to start the game, and I think they should have picked him up basically the full game, but the fact that that's not what they do, I think is kind of an indictment of like, can't say this stuff and then not lean into it. Like, I think that should have been the game plan of like in the second half they did it, but even that was it was like a faux.
Yeah, it was like
full court. So I'm here, and then
yep.
okay, I'll run back with you. We'll go together, you and me. It should have been like into the ball, like, and that would have been a great game. They'll never do this, but that really would have been a great game, I think, to be like, yeah, you guys are going to play Ben Shepherd. Okay, Jalen Clark's going to start.
Sure.
And he's going to pick up Ben Shepherd the length of the court. And we're going to see how many times that Ben Shepherd can dribble past half court. And at the very least, maybe then they just give it to Siakam and he brings it up every time. But, like those types of things, just get them out of their comfort zone. Yeah. Because even in Indiana, like they didn't shoot that well or anything, but they were in the game throughout. Like I said, and this was a team that was just destroyed by Memphis last night. Playing the second half of back-to-back, just got worked. Lost Obi Toppin too in this game. And we're still just like going toe to toe because Minnesota never made them like uncomfortable. Yeah,
you're right. The first quarter, like
the first 5 minutes,
throw like because Julius was cooking on offense.
Correct. Yeah.
So like if you did.
They're getting out of the hoop,
Yeah. Like, so they did what you're saying, and Jalen Clark or anybody,
started over
pressuring,
Dante, whatever,
or even if it was Dante who was pressuring Shepherd, and they're just the Pacers are having trouble getting into offense.
Yeah,
there while Julius is cooking at the beginning of the game. Okay, now you're up by 15 at the end of the first quarter. And this is
said they were down 2, or no, or it was like maybe it was up 2. Yeah, something like that.
It was close. It was close. It's I do think they just need to activate a little bit more defensively. And Nikhil was that. Nikhil was always activated.
Yeah.
That was one thing
Nikhil would have been picking guys up full court.
He would have.
Didn't have to be a coaching point. He tonight would have been picking guys up full court.
You're right. Yeah. Just in general, I'm curious what you've seen from, that'll be the last thing, what you've seen from McDaniels.
Yeah. I mean, I think pretty good. Tonight was definitely tougher, but I think he has embraced the transition thing, and that is what needs to be embraced. He's
good at it,
really good at it. Like he's somebody where you get him one-on-one, and he's always been that guy where it's like one-on-one on the wing, like I can get to my spot because he's great around the rim and 6 feet, and so the more he can do that, the more he's going to find easy points, and he does seem like he's being pretty intentional about it. About looking to what he wants to do and trying to get there. I think there was one tonight where he was so focused on just running to the corner that I think it was him that Bones threw the ball off the court.
Yeah.
And Jaden wasn't even looking, and like I think it was great on Bones' part of like, I think Jaden's got an advantage here. Like I'm gonna throw it
I remember
towards
that.
the rim. Yeah, and Jaden just wasn't even thinking because the Minnesota doesn't do it enough. So I don't think it's like ingrained in your mind.
Yeah,
I might get the ball here.
It's about habits with this transition stuff.
But I loved from Bones looking up and going, I think that might be there, and giving it a chance because I don't care if it's a contested catch. I would like Jaden McDaniels' chance to get the contested catch, and I would like his chance to then finish.
Right.
And that's the easiest, best way to get him offense. I think he's being intentional about that. Kind of took on the challenge in that way. So I think that's been really encouraging.
If you want Jaden McDaniels to be an 18 to 20 point scorer, even for just like a month or a period of time or a game, it's just going to have to come through transition. Jaden's gotten better in the half court. He's got like solid handle for a 6'11" guy. He can, he can score around the bucket, but he just doesn't have like a huge offensive game.
Right.
And this is the path. It's like there should be 8 points a game of semi-transition, or transition buckets for him. And I think this team needs this. Like they do need. I thought it was really apparent in the first couple games, especially when Naz and Dante weren't playing well. Of like, where is the offense coming from? And to Jaden's credit, in those games, I thought he did step up in that way. But I think that could be an every night thing. It's not like a get hot sort of thing. Like if Jaden is getting out, running in transition and finishing in transition like this, that should juice his like points per game by like 6 this season every night. And that should be an every night sort of thing. So then when like tonight, he has what do you shoot from 3? Like 1 of 7 or something like that. That's going to happen with Jaden. We know that he has variance to his shot. Like even on the bad shooting nights, even on the nights where you're in like some foul trouble and stuff like that, did you still get 8 kind of somewhat transition-y points? Like that's his path. That's his path to and we look at his stats at the end of the season. We go, oh, Jaden had a career year. I think offensively, it's just about transition there.
The foul trouble stuff just feels like it's never going away. That's been the one, I think, thing that is almost annoying. Like it has been every game. Where tonight he had 4, but I think he had 4 with a healthy amount of time left. The crafty players just do find ways to get it against him. And I know they get everybody, so I'm not, like if you defend a lot, you're going to get in foul trouble or whatever. But that is just like it disrupts his rhythm. And so then like even when he plays really well for the first quarter and a half, it's like then he picks up his third or whatever and he has to go sit. Like it stunts it, and it always will. How will it not? It would do that for everybody. So that's probably one of those things that sometimes just limits like the ceiling of because even if you're playing well, like that's going to get turned off because you have to go sit down for 5 minutes, and you're probably frustrated about that. And it's hard to stay like in that right mental mindset, but. Yeah, it's
largely he's been really good.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. That's if I was going to say a negative, it would be that.
Yeah.
What have you thought about 3-point shooting? I just don't know how consistent it looks right now. Is like last year they were really good at it, and this year, like I know it's a very small sample size, but
yeah, I mean, when they're very good at it, it's when Julius is creating them for others.
Like that Naz one.
Yeah. Or Ant is just getting to his 3, and they're running action to get him, or he's taking those step in 3s. Like I don't like, I think Julius's shot looks really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, they think it's the other pieces when they've been a really good 3-point shooting team the past couple seasons. It's like, oh, Mike Conley had made 2 or 3, or Dante had a game where he made 5 or 6, or Naz made 5 or 6. There's been none of that. It's been the 3s have pretty much exclusively been, feels like off the top of my head, I don't know what the numbers are. Julius generated, Julius taken, or Ant taken. Who has the 3rd most 3s on the team right now? Is it Dante? Probably.
Good question. I was looking at the team numbers. And the team numbers say that they're making like 12 a game right now, which is just a low number. And I think if they're going to be like a top 5 offense, which they were in the second half of last year, and I think is kind of necessary for them to be like a contending team, I think they got to make a lot of 3-point shots.
Well, okay. Well, how would you suggest getting them?
That's just it. It usually comes off of, like you said, right now, Dante is at 2.3 a game. Jane's at 1.3 as the 4th.
Yeah, that's right.
It's at 3 makes a game and barely played tonight, so that's pretty good.
It is an opportunity cost of Dante being a kind of point guard.
I agree.
He can't be Malik Beasley.
I agree.
And I think if you're onto something here and we get a couple more weeks into it, and you're like, oh, the 3-point shooting is really low, they probably need to like rip that cord and be like, all right, we need to use Dante as a movement shooter more, like scripted plays to get him, just pin downs, whatever, just to get him.
We saw some of that in the preseason, but he wasn't starting in the preseason. Wasn't playing with this unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got to be. It's him and Naz. It's got to be. the drivers of that. I don't even know who else it could be, especially with Mike in a lesser role. I mean,
and
Mike's
Ant obviously
40%.
is usually the massive volume guy. And so if he's out for some time here too, then you're not going to have as many automatic threes as part of your offense.
Yeah. So maybe it's more reason with if Ant is out.
It's going to play tomorrow, probably. We'll just
we'll
talk about this.
We had no information.
I mean, we haven't talked to anybody about it.
He was grabbing his hamstring in the LA game. I saw that, like when he was going back to the bench one time. I remember seeing it. It was his right leg, and he had kind of like a sleeve on it. So I think it's something that's been bothering him.
He's nervous about it getting worse or something.
Yeah, and you don't want to mess around.
Yeah,
with
correct. I agree. And it was diagnosed
as
as tightness, so it's not like a pull or something or a strain or whatever that we know of right now.
Given Ant's history, he'll be back out 40 tomorrow.
yeah, and it'll be like, and this was an hour waste of time.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't play,
these teams still apply. Like they need all this stuff with Ant or without Ant. They just need it more. They need more threes, especially if
that's a big driver of offense for them in the past. And if you take out a guy who shoots 8 to 10 a game and hits them at an incredibly high clip,
you better add him somewhere else.
And exactly. And frankly, like, and his gravity often generates the others, like as good as Julius was tonight, Denver, whoever usually can provide a little bit more resistance. Not a lot. Like there are plenty of games where it's like Julius just dominate. They don't really have an answer, but you go to like a Denver here and now they don't even have to think about Aaron Gordon on Ant. And now Aaron Gordon's on Julius and Julius is the focal point. And they go into the game knowing here's how we're going to stop Julius Randle tonight. That's a different challenge.
Yeah. No, that's what will happen. It'll be Gordon on Randle.
Yeah. And it's a team heading into the game, likely maybe preparing a little bit for Ant, but probably having a pretty good idea at shoot around or whatever. Here's how we're going to stop Julius Randle tonight.
Yeah. They will bake that in. You're right. This was cool, man. Thanks for doing an immediate one with me. I always say it's a little, right afterwards to kind of wrap your head around it. But I think this was good. We'll see where this team goes. This is another data point, but as you said, a very injured Indiana team. So not going crazy about this one either. I think we still have questions with this team about, where the real ceiling of it is. And then every team is figuring that out. Some now too, but they're 2-1 through 3 games. Got Denver on a back-to-back tomorrow, and we'll see what comes next from there. You guys can follow Jace on Twitter at Jace Frederick and read him in the Pioneer Press. You have anything else?
No, that's it, man. It's cool.
Sweet. So until it'll be Kyle and I are going to record on Tuesday morning after the Monday game against Denver. So until then, he's Jace. I'm Dane. Peace out.
How I'm feeling, man, I hope it never stop, yeah. Green and hot so you can find me in the crowd, yeah. Don't let standards ever bring you down, yeah. Hope you dancing.